to watch, and she's going to make big changes in the area. And Wendy Kimsey, I just want to recognize Wendy, and she's on the library board, but I just want to say, along with Wendy and others here today, Joey, everybody, we had a 2006 group that really was out there working hard to get me elected, and it's just great. It's great to see everyone here together with a lot of new faces, some young folks.
The Bluetooth is disconnected.
So this is a great night. Now, it was my honor and privilege to serve in Congress for 16 years. It was a great experience, and I had Pleasanton, Dublin, Livermore, San Ramon, Danville for about 6 years. And I tell you, this was a great community. Like it or not, I love the Danville 4th of July parade. It's a great event because there's so many people show up, and it's a, you know, you go down the street and some people are saying yay, and some people are saying boo, and it's just like it's a great experience to see that and to get people engaged. So, but some of my great experience, some of my accomplishments, the Livermore VA that's just about finished. It'll be opening. Anyone that's dealt with a VA knows what I'm talking about. This is a big undertaking. It costs $400 million, and it's going to serve veterans very, very well, long into the future. So I'm very, very proud of that. But traumatic brain injury law, that when the war, Iraq war, the war of choice, which drove me to run for Congress, we had so many folks with brain injuries. That was something I really had to do for those folks, and I can tell you more about that later if you want, but it's a little graphic. At any rate, moving forward, I champion energy issues, clean energy. I spent my career developing renewable energy technology. I champion the water issues, and we're going to have some discussions about that, because this district, this Senate district, which has all of San Joaquin County and the Tri-Valley, splits the water issue. There's only a finite amount of water. And the Governor Brown wanted to put in these 2 massive tunnels. I fought that, but we got to have a way to make sure we get clean, fresh water for the entire community. And I mentioned energy. Climate change has been very big on my agenda. The thing about California Senate is that it's a small body. There's only 40 folks, as opposed to 435 people that hate each other in Washington. Everybody there's ambitious, let me tell you. Here, you know, it's a body that you can actually get things done. So I'm very excited about that. I spent 6 years as chair of the Artificial Intelligence Caucus. AI is an incredible opportunity, but it's also kind of scary. I mean, so my mission is to make sure that we put guardrails around AI and make sure that it benefits people, right? That it helps make people more productive, not put them out of work, not other bad things. And there's a tremendous potential in that. But there's so much more I can talk about that I can promise you this, I can promise you that. Certainly stand up tall for women's rights and reproductive rights. The flyers you see out there are totally lies and misleading. I've been as strong for women's rights as you could possibly be my 16 years in Congress. So spread the word about that. But you know, what are we here for? Because we're Democrats, right? We care about people. What makes us want to be Democrats as opposed to something else? And the thing is that we want to make sure that people have a fair shot. We want to make sure that people are treated with respect, with dignity. We want to make sure people have a chance that they can make living wages. That they're not going to get profiled by the police. I mean, these are things that are dear to us. We want to make sure that we want to reduce gun violence. We want to fight climate. I mean, we are there for the people of this country and this world, and that's why I am a Democrat. And I can tell you, when you look at a candidate, they'll say something and you may or may not remember it, but what I want you to remember about me is that I have the passion and the heart for the people of this district. And I'm going to do everything I can to listen to people, to do things, to make decisions based on facts and science that are going to benefit the people of this district and this state and this nation. So the great thing, California leads the nation. They don't like it in other states, but they have no choice because we're out there in front and we're going to drag the country along with us on climate and women's rights and these other issues that are so important to our future. So that's why I'm here and running. And I definitely appreciate your support and help here. So thank you for coming. We're going to do some precinct walking coming up so that people know that they have a candidate that stands up for them. Now my opponent, I just want to say a little word or two. He's a human being, he's not a monster, but his philosophy is very different from mine. He's getting his big support from business community, from Uber, from McDonald's, because they don't want to pay living wages. He's getting his support from the oil companies, because they know he's not going to fight climate. He's getting his support from those from PG&E, because he's not going to stand up to PG&E and demand that they be accountable for these incredible raise in districts. You know, I shouldn't have got me started talking about PG&E. I can't control myself. I mean, I've always worked with PG&E, but you know, you continue to see their advertisements on TV. They're putting money to fight me in a political campaign and others in political campaigns, and yet they're raising rates as astronomically as we speak. We're among the most expensive electric markets in the entire country. We're higher than Hawaii of all places. So, you know, they need to be held accountable. So anyway, thank you for tolerating my diatribe on.
And my parents are from San Bruno.
Oh. Oh, okay. Yes, Julie. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I will just, full disclaimer, I was at your opponent's campaign event a week ago.
Oh, well.
Before we stood at the farmer's market. And I'm going to ask you the questions that were asked of him and show, hopefully, contrast. And the first one was asked by a well-known director of one of our local nonprofits who said, Tri-Valley and Central Valley are very different communities. And how do you reconcile when you will hear that the Central Valley has great need for social services and Tri-Valley has no need whatsoever? And how do you... Thank you.
I disagree.
Yeah. So how do you reconcile that? Because we actually have a problem with that, where we have become a service desert in some respects because we compete with some of our needier neighbors. And so how will you reconcile that, representing so very different areas? That's the first question.
So first of all, I've lived in both areas and I've represented both areas. So I've gotten to know the people, the issues, and I can tell you they are somewhat different, but people are people. And if you look at the Access Community Health Center here in Pleasanton, something that I helped fund when I represented this area, and I understand the need for just look at the cost of healthcare. I mean, people are going to need access to healthcare, whether they're employed, whether they're unemployed, whether they work for Uber, who is just decided to declare war on me. I mean, everyone needs healthcare, access to healthcare, so absolutely. But that doesn't discount the need in the valley. I mean, we see homeless encampments out there. I've been to those homeless encampments. I've talked to people that are in those situations, and they're going to need help to get out of that situation. And that means we're going to have a supply of homes to put them in. They're going to have to get paid when they work, living wages, and they're going to have Prop 1 pass to make sure that they have help to lift them and lift themselves out of that situation. So, yeah, I definitely understand the needs of both sides of this district.
And the other is state legislation. There, again, we really do have very different environments, the Tri-Valley versus the Central Valley, and there will be bills to vote on where they would want you to vote one way and we would want you to vote a conflicting way. How do you reconcile that?
Well, I mean, I brought up water earlier, and water is a key issue. The Tri-Valley Zone 7 needs access to water, and you know, if you cut off that water, we're in trouble here. We've got PFAS issues to worry about. So basically, I want to look at science. I want to let science lead us to the right path on that issue and other issues, especially water, because if we allow the tunnels to be built, it's a possibility they will drain all of the Sacramento River, south of here, and that would be a disaster for the communities out there. We can't let that happen. But again, we have to have access to water here. So on an issue like that, my current philosophy is to build, make sure the levees are strong enough to withstand whatever comes at them, and figure out ways to divert sufficient water. But there's a city in Southern California, I don't remember the name right now, that stores water in rainy season in giant underwater cisterns, and that community has enough water to feed itself without drying on Colorado River or the Delta. So we need to look at solutions like that. At desal, we have this incredible Livermore Laboratory that is developing desal tools that are going to be a lot more cost effective than the current reverse osmosis methods. I'll just say one more thing about the lab. I am so excited about fusion energy. I want to make this region the fusion energy hub of America. And I think that's going to happen with my leadership in Sacramento. So I'm very excited about that. And if you look at tech rose up and it created thousands of jobs and millions of jobs and all these rich people, and now it's like people don't like tech anymore, and it's kind of going to Texas and Florida. Fusion energy, we can continue to have an incredibly strong economy. So I'm very excited about fusion.
I'm very excited to have you as our representative.
Oh, thank you, Julie, thank you. Julie endorsed me, so I really appreciate that. Even before she knew that I had all this. Yes.
I really appreciate your comment about how, that we're all people, that we share some of the same issues, whether it's perceived that way or not. As you know, I sit on the County Board of Ed, and I suffer from that a little bit because they'll say, well, the Tri-Valley doesn't need that. When in fact, what I find is that we have the invisible poor because of the stigma of being poor in an area that tends to be affluent. People won't tell you they need services. They won't tell you that they need food stamps or they need mental health services, and we're struggling with that in terms of how we service children. And you know that if we don't resolve issues with kids by 4th grade, we build jail cells for them later. So I hope that when you are in the Senate, that you'll recognize that making sure that we have good mental health services and good special ed services for kids early on will solve some of these problems later. That really wasn't a question, that was an affirmation. But I think that one of the things that struck me when I knew that you were running is that my daughter got a text, now she's 37 now, 39.
Your daughter grew up with my daughter.
Yes, and we got that really nice picture of your wife and your daughter and my daughter and me the year that you and I were both elected the same year when I was on council. But at any rate, she gets a text and they said, will you vote for Jerry McNerney? And she said, look, he's a friend of my mom's. Of course I'll vote for Jerry McNerney. She said, I volunteered for him in college, but she called me so excited that you were running. And I think we all have that kind of warm and fuzzy feeling about how hard we worked to get you to Congress the first time. And the fact that you didn't forget where you came from, and that you paid attention to the things that we needed, not just here, but in other places that you represented, including when you went over the hill through no fault of your own. So, sorry, I had to bring that up. But I don't really have a question because I think I know what you stand for. But what I know that you stand for, whether you and I end up disagreeing or agreeing on something or not, is that you stand up for the people that you represent. And I think that's kind of the message that I'm going to put on these cards when I send them out. So thank you.
Thank you.